I tell you what, the weather, the wind, the atmosphere, it just seems that something is happening. In other words, I know that the weather's been kind of unpredictable lately, but AI and the platforms have definitely been unpredictable. Hi, I'm Laura Sutherly with Agtivation here with another episode on harvesting growth. And I'm with my dear friend Kilgore, and we're going to talk about some of the things that have really hit everybody this week on the AI platforms with what's coming. Actually, I'm only going to focus on some of the announcements that Google made at their big event that actually is just wrapping up. And then I'm going to showcase the micro app that I had built that I mentioned on last week's episode. So if you haven't heard anything about that, I will be showcasing it today just for a show and tell and maybe getting some juices flowing. So, Brad, how are you doing today? Is it windy out there in Colorado?
Doing great. Yeah, it's pretty warm and windy. I think some cold is coming in, hopefully some moisture where I live in the mountains. So here we go.
Good, good. Like I said, it's been, I don't want to say unsettling with some of the weather fronts that have been coming through, but with what the platforms have rolled out, I know if anybody is geeking out, I know we try to bring practical things. So I'm going to just showcase a few things instead of completely geeking out. And then our listeners and viewers can be looking for these elements rolling into their Google Workspace if they are in that environment. So, first off, one of the things, and like I said, this is literally just happening. So unfortunately, I can't show my screen on some of them, but in future episodes, I will bring them to attention as they come. The one thing that really surprised me was in Google Sheets. So basically, this intelligence is rolled out. So if you are in the environment of Google products, you're going to be able to see how they start to work in relation to one another. Brad's done an excellent job in the past with giving a highlight of Notebook LM. That's one of my most favorite tools. We work in the Google environment, the workspace. So my team is definitely seeing the benefit of that with Google Notebooks. But if you happen to have a sheet open, and again, this may not be the latest thing, but you can actually, maybe you say you want to go ahead and learn and cross reference some seed or something, fertilizer or something for your growers. If you list what you are going after the rows and then across the columns what you want it to research and autofill those, it will actually go out and search those and pre-fill those fields. That is absolutely amazing. That, like I said, has been out there a little bit, but now they're going to be adding an icon at the very bottom, and you look for this special icon by the tabs. If you click it now, it becomes interactive. So the way I can see it is, obviously the dealerships, you have a lot of information for your growers. If you can collect those in a notebook, think about how powerful that will be to present that to those growers. So, in other words, you're going to be able to grab any of their data, all of that agronomy information, anything that they might be considering to use, put that in, and then you'll be able to have an interactive dashboard that if they click, they're going to be able to move around it. So, again, we'll bring a demo to that as those features are available to us. Right now, like I said, we're not seeing them on our paid plan, but they're coming soon. Have you heard anything more about that, Brad?
I have seen some of it. Like I always share, YouTube is your friend. And so, because I'm always looking at the latest updates that I can, I did see some videos showing the feature that you're describing and literally what you can create now. I am not a Sheets expert by any stretch, but I love the fact that I now have an AI assistant who helped me in Sheets, and there's other ones and some of the other Google tools as where you're now talking to them. I'm sure you'll cover, but yeah, I need all the help I can get in sheets or spreadsheets.
Well, it just is, I think of how much time that saves, especially again, if you're in your environment. And that little button at the bottom is going to be a canvas button, not a Canva, a canvas button. And that's what will be opening up all of that. So it's kind of like a mini app to get that dashboard, et cetera. But I too, I'm not a pro in Sheets. And if I get in there and have a question, my first go to is to click that button up top, and we'll visit with that here in a second. And that would be the Gemini button that will open up and allow me to ask, hey, I would like to accomplish this within Sheets or with whatever program you might be in. And there would be your answer. Another, I am so excited about this. Another key feature that's rolling out unfortunately, again, we don't see this quite yet, is AI inbox. So if you check your email within a Gmail environment, watch for that AI inbox, because now what's going to happen is it's going to showcase what is urgent, and it's going to suggest some replies to emails. It's going to kind of prioritize. So again, it doesn't take control of your email. It just gives you an opportunity to see what you should be paying attention to. So I think that is going to be extremely valuable to any of the business owners that are watching this that think, "Oh, how do I get through all these emails every day?" That's going to be a very quick click. And to Brad, your point of watching it on YouTube, if you search for the latest Google Next convention that's going on, you will be able to see how they go into detail. I'm going to share my screen here for a second and showcase one other thing before, as I'm getting this share screen up, it's going to have, if you need automations, that's another thing that you'll be able to do is you'll be able to do micro flows, some micro automations that allow you to, as you're in your email and you say, oh, I need to do X, Y, and Z, you'll be able to guide it through. So, Brad, are you seeing my screen?
But yeah, I could see it.
Okay, very good. This is just workspace.google.com. This is one that has a very high level. Some things, again, you have been seeing these before, but we just wanted to highlight that as you scroll down, just some of the ways to automate your work. This is what we're talking about. This little emblem will be up, this icon will be up in the header, and it'll be the Workspace Studio that allows you to automate some things, and that's why I said just some micro automations. And the cool thing, again, if all your information is in Google, and we're only mentioning this because, again, we hear a high percentage of businesses work within the Google environment. Think about your automation is only as good as your steps that you put in. Now, if Google can see the whole picture of what you're trying to accomplish, it's going to actually be able to do more. So, prepare for meeting, translate, auto label, and then save to drive as you need. So, here's just some videos that they had put out, but I would highly recommend taking a moment to look at some of the videos that they provided, just because it does put that power in back in your hand. What else would you like to add there, Brad?
So, what I do is I subscribe to a lot of the Google channels on YouTube,
Mhm.
like the Google Workspace, the Google Notebook LM. There's different YouTube channels. They have X accounts. And so I subscribe to those as well because I want to stay up to date of what's happening. That'll be kind of my little pointer for the day is, subscribe to some of these and then you see it in real time. And like you just showed, go right to those websites. And, there's a lot of detailed information and, like I said, little videos.
Yes, and thank you. That's a great gold nugget for anybody to subscribe to those to get them automatically, because there are multiple YouTube videos out there, but that will provide people with the latest. And again, these elements that we're speaking of today may not be on your screen today. It may be a week, it may be a few weeks. It seems like it's rolling out pretty quickly, but just be on the lookout for that. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I just wanted to go, what we were talking about last week was what we're able to build. Now, sometimes growers have the best ideas, or your team has the best ideas, or you, while you're in the windshield, or not in driving, have windshield time is what we always say. You may be out in the field and having a fabulous idea of what if. And if that comes, now we've got these tools, and many, many companies are out there with this. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I was mentioning to you last week that, and again, this is just going to be, there we go. Hold on. Not being patient on my end. Um, there was a discussion here on our farm. This is all fictitious information, but the discussion was, okay, where is that information? So what I created through Lovable was a fleet parts tracker, where it actually would allow equipment to be entered. So you can click, add whatever tractor, whatever piece of equipment that was purchased, input several of the details, as much or as little details as you would like. I mean, that's the reason why I had to go small real quick so I can move out. So you can see that we've got many different fields. And once you've got those added in, what happens is that piece of equipment is here allowing you to edit and mark down when did it need an oil change? Did it need a new air filter? What air filter did you like? What about fuel filters? So it got to be very exciting as to put in where do we typically get those parts? Because I know many growers have different farm hands, different family members helping them out. So when it came to this particular case here, we were running into that. Different people go to different stores. They didn't know what we needed to purchase, or we sold a piece of equipment and had multiple filters still on hand. So this allows, again, it was just one of those ideas that I talked out with my husband and my son. We talked about, okay, let's look at, you know, what information would be easy for them to keep track of. The key one is maintenance. Preventative maintenance. When was the oil changed last? When was it greased? What was needed? So it just got to be really nice to have this discussion out, have it built. Is it fully functional? Not yet, because of course it's in a beta and there's going to be some adjustments. The one thing that was talked about is, hey, what if we sell that piece of equipment? How can we export all this? So right now, we're able to go ahead and click. It will generate a PDF. It'll allow it to pull that report. And then if the piece of equipment is sold, we were able to, or would be able to put it with it. So anyway, this just kind of gives a nice summary. So what do you think, Brad?
Oh my gosh, this is awesome. I love it. Yeah,
And
this
this
has
is one of
got my
those
wheels spinning.
good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Because and one thing that came out is there was a particular filter that they had been purchasing and did not like it at all. So they wanted a way to rate it so that the next person that would go in to purchase it would know yay or nay as not, as to whether. So again, this is just gives it goes along the line as if you think it, you can talk it out and build it. It's not to full completion. It's not, but by golly, if I hand this over to my developers now, it is going to be ready to rock and roll. So it allows me to go back and forth with clients. It allows me to go back and forth with my family on this particular one and get information from them so it can be so much closer to being published. That's what gets me very excited because they can see it, they keep that excitement going, and we know it's close to rolling it out.
Well, yeah, you're not wasting money, not buying extra stuff. You're keeping everything organized. I mean, this is really, really good.
Yes, I'm very excited about it because, again, there's a lot of ideas, a lot of great ideas that sit on the shelf that nobody ever takes the time because they think of, oh, it's going to be back and forth and back and forth. And yes, years ago, it was. We would actually be doing drawings of what they would see for each screen and have everything signed up. Where this is, you're able to talk it out much faster. Again, have that conversation with your team. They have brilliant ideas that maybe you would be able to roll out. We're here if you want to go through this process with us. We will talk it out with you and get it to the point where you guys can say, yes, that's what we want. Or it may lead into another idea that's even more powerful.
Right. And so you used Lovable. That's a website to basically vibe code. Is that right?
Correct. It is. It is. Gets those juices flowing so that we know what builds can be brought to market. So that's what's very exciting or used within the businesses or within the farms. So I know we've covered a lot. This is almost a fire hose session where we just throw a bunch of ideas out there. But I really believe that these are used ideas. And especially again, if you're in the Google Workspace or if you have that idea, this gives you some tools to move forward with. So, Brad, any closing statements?
I think you threw out some really good gold nuggets today that I feel are super helpful to me. So I know they're helpful to others.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining us. Listeners and viewers, we appreciate you as well. And I know I usually say, let's get out and play in the dirt, but soil is definitely most important. So I'm going to change my sign off to let's go play in the soil. Have a great week.
Awesome.